Hi everyone, welcome back to the Code Step by Step channel. My name is Anil Sidhu. Now we will talk about Laravel Eloquent Model. See, Eloquent Model is basically used in Laravel to communicate with the database. So in Laravel, we have two ways for perform the operation on the database with Laravel. First one, we can use the query builder, which is rarely used. Second one, we can use the Eloquent models. So why we call them Eloquent models, I'll let you know in this part. But what is model? First, we'll talk about this. Then we will make a table in the database. We have to check the configuration, database configuration in the Laravel env file. After that, we will make controller model and we will perform some basic operation with Eloquent model. And at last, we'll talk about some important interview questions also. This is Laravel 13 playlist that will definitely help you out for Laravel job, project and interviews. You can watch this playlist. Link is given in the description box. Now, let's talk about the first question. What is model? See, model is basically the part of MVC architecture. There, M means model, V means view, C means controller. We already discussed about view and controller in this series. Now we are talking about the model. So model is nothing. This is just a regular PHP class which we create with the help of command line, and command also you can see there. PHP artisan make, then model, and we can put the model name. Anything you can use for a model name, maybe student, employee, user, whatever you want to make. So basically model we use to write the business logic as well as for the database connection. But in case of Laravel, most of the time we use models for the DB related work only. You can write the business logic also there, but most of the time in Laravel, we will use it only for the DB related work. Now you understand, we basically use model to interact with the database to perform any operations, like you want to insert some data, update, delete, search, anything that you need to do with the database, we basically use the model. Now in Laravel, we basically use the ORM feature, which is basically we called object relation mapper. So to this feature in Laravel, we are calling it Eloquent. That's why we are calling this the Eloquent model, because that model basically used for object relation mapper. So one more thing which is very important, whenever you are creating any model, the model name should be singular and the database table name should be plural. For example, if you want to create a model for students table, right, then your model name should be student and your database table name should be students. If you will use this structure, you don't need to mention anywhere. If you will follow this structure, you don't need to mention table name in your model. If you will not follow this structure, then you have to mention the table name in your model basically. All right, so now let's move to the database and let me create one table there. So table name, you can keep anything. I'm just keeping it, let's say students, and I'll make some column name also, like ID, then name, email and city. Then you can provide the type for them and length for them also. Let's say for name, I'm keeping it varchar, for email and city also. And I'm randomly putting some, length for now, right? So after some time, we have to add two more columns there, updated at and created at. Why? I'll let you know. First, I'll show you the error, why these are important. But first, let's perform some basic operations with this way only. So let me save it. Now table is created. Now I want to add some data also there. So let me add some data. Yeah, for ID, if you want, then you can just make it auto increment. So let me go to the structure and let me just change it with the auto increment, right? If you want, then you can skip it also, but I just like to keep the ID auto incremented because we don't need to change it most of the time, right? Now let's go to the insert and I'm adding some name like this, and I already added. Let me add one more, maybe Bruce. City, maybe we can put there Delhi or something. Let's add one more at last, Peter, and let me keep it Noida for now, right? So now we have 3 data in our table. I think we are sufficient basically. Now let's again move to the code and let me create one model. And as I told you, our database table should be plural and our model should be singular basically. And what is the command to create it? PHP artisan make model name. So I'm just putting there PHP artisan make model, and model name we can simply say, let's say student, right? And I also need one controller, so let me create a controller also. And controller name I can keep, let's say student controller, hit enter. And now inside the app you can see that in HTTP controllers we have this student controller as well as we have this model also. I don't need this terminal now, so I'm just removing it. And let me create a function. You can keep any name. For now I'm just keeping it name show, right? And for now let's return there hello, so that first I can check the routes and all, right? So yeah, one more important thing that we have to do inside the controller, I by mistakenly mentioned there, right? Sorry for that. I'm just cutting from there and pasting there. Now go to the web.php, which is inside the routes web.php, to create the route. So these are we used in the previous part, right? These routes we used. So now what I'll do there, I don't need them, right? So I can just simply comment out them, and now I can just simply use there. Even I can just simply mention there student controller, right? That would be easy. And there for first one I'll just simply use this class name and show as a function name. Now let's try to run it. You can see that hello we are getting here, perfect. Next thing what we want to do, we have to check the env file. So let me just open there .env file. You must have to check these configurations which is related to the database software name. We are using MySQL. Then host name should be this. Then port name, by default MySQL port is basically 3306. Then database name, username and password. These things we already discussed in the previous two parts also, but just I want to give you heads up there, like this should be fine, otherwise your application will not work with the database. So now we can just close this file. Next thing, even we can close this file also, which is not required. So now you have to import your model inside the controller. So for that you have to use app models and your model name, which is student. Now what we can do, now just use your uh, model name, which is student colon all. So colon all, this method, all method will be return the all data from your table. Let me show you. If I just come there, refresh it, here you can see that we have the 3 rows there, and if you want you can check there, we have 3 rows only. Okay, and now let's say you want to fetch the row on the behalf of the ID. So let's say you want to get the row which has ID 2. So what you can do simply, I'm just commenting it out so that you can see all the code there, right? So again, I'm returning there student colon find, and in this method you can provide the ID. Let's say 2 ID I provided there. Now if I just refresh, you'll see we have this data. Perfect. Now let's try to update this, and whenever we'll try to update, you'll see that we will face a error there. Let me try to write the query first. Student, and then I'm just using their where statement. Where means like where I want to update the data. So basically I want to update the data where we have ID 1, right? And what actually I want to update. So for that we have again the update function, and in this function we can simply mention name, and we can say that Anil Sidhu, right? Anil Sidhu. So basically I want to update the name of the user which has ID 1 basically, right? So if I just refresh it to just run this query, because we are using this function right there, it will throw an error. Here you can see that this is asking for student dot updated at column, but we don't have this updated at and created at. So what we can do there in the database, we can add these two things, updated and created field. But there is a one more way. So because maybe there is a chance we don't want to add these two things, which is not important, then why we will make our table more complex, right? So that what you can do, just open the your model and simply you can use their public dollar timestamps equal to false. And now it will not check the created or updated timestamp. Refresh it. Now you can see that we got the one there. One means that data is actually updated. Here you can see that, right? So if just you want to store it in the, any variable result or something, then you want to show like user is updated or not, dollar student dollar result, and there you can return simply user updated or something, right? And now I'll change there Anil Kumar Sidhu or something, right? So let's say now you can see that user updated, and if you just check that, data is also updated there. Perfect. Now let's say you want to delete some data, right? So for that, let me just copy this, right, and paste it there so that I can just save some time. So what I need to do there, I'll just need to do there delete, right? And in delete, I don't need to pass any, parameters. Simply I can just remove this. And the ID, let's say we have the third ID. I want to delete the ID 3 from there. So let me just put there 3, and I can see that user deleted. Refresh, user deleted, and now we have only 2 users. Perfect. Now let's say you want to add one more user, right? Now again you will face one more issue there, but let me write the code first, then I'll show you. So what I'll do, return, then I'll simply write there student colon create. This is the function which is used to insert the data basically, and there we have to pass the array. So we have there 3 fields: name, email, and city. So what I'll do there, name, let's say I want to add a name with sit. Then what was the next? Email, right? anil@test.com. And third one is basically, let's say city, let's say Delhi or something, right? But if I try to update it, it will throw an error for mass update or mass assignment something. Here you can see that mass assignment. What it mean actually? So now database, now this code is saying we are trying to update the multiple columns at the same time, right? So for that, our model is not ready. If you want to do that, basically we have to just add one more property there. So you can keep this property public, then dollar fillable, and then we can simply keep it, let's say name, email, and then I can see that city or something, right? Or if you want, you can keep it protected also, right? That is also fine. So now if we'll try to do that, it will allow to add the new data. Why? Because now we are mentioning that we can fill all these fields. That means we can add that data in these fields basically, right? Yeah, there is a one more thing. So if I just, comment out this line, and if I just try to add once again this data, it will throw the same error which was previously you're seeing in the update time, right? When we are trying to update the data. So the valid fix basically, in the table we have to add 2 more columns. Let me go to the, structure, and let me add 2 columns, which is simply updated and created. I can just add their data type as a date. You can give some, any random number to the date, and now you will see it will work. So either you have to mention your timestamp false, or either you have to add these 2, you know, columns in your database table, which is very important, right? So that's all for this part. If you have any confusion, any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this part, guys.